We are live with the WNBA legend, Tamika Catchings, here at the WNBA headquarters in New York. Welcome, Tamika.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you. We're here to talk about your, take you down memory lane a little bit, talk about your legendary career that wrapped up last season, but also look ahead to the future and what you're up to now. So what we've done is we're going to have Tamika walk us through a WNBA.com photo gallery and tell us about what each picture means to her. So we'll start out with the most recent event that WNBA fans have seen, your jersey retirement at Bankers Life Fieldhouse in Indiana. When you see that photo of your jersey hanging in the rafters, just what does that mean to you?
It's awesome. Definitely a great feeling, and it's just a great night overall. Think about 16 years ago, having the opportunity to get drafted by Indiana, and even before that, just the dream of playing in the WNBA. For any team, it didn't matter, but Indiana took a chance, and to see this banner will forever go on the rafters, and it just, it's awesome. It's awesome. My family was there, my mom, my dad, my nephews, my brother, my sister, aunts in the house, so a little bit of, and my husband, of course, and his family. So just a great night overall, and a picture that will, something that will never be forgotten.
Yeah, when a lot of athletes are asked about their careers, they say, think about that, when I'm done. When was that point for you when you realized, your career hit you and all you accomplished really hit you?
I would say leading up to this night, really that week, it really hit me. And every day, as we got closer and closer, I got anxiety and almost like a fear, not necessarily a fear, but just more of an anxiousness of getting to the night. And I think some of it too was your whole life you prepared for the moment to play basketball and be prepared for your games and practices and all that. And then in a moment, it's over. And so, I would say that week leading up to it, it was just kind of I was nervous, and then the day of, I broke out in tears during our family dinner before the game, before I actually got to this, and then of course this night, and standing out there, and all the fans are just going crazy, and it was just kind of just another emotional moment.
And we've got one more photo from that night. So the whole team surrounding you, obviously with you staying in the Fever and Pacers organization, you're still a huge part of the organization and kind of left your legacy on the team. The way your teammates have embraced you, what does that mean to you? And also what does it mean to, in your current role, still be around the team and be able to contribute to the Fever organization?
Yeah, it's awesome. You look at this group, and I didn't get a chance to play with everybody, but the core group that's still there, the players that I did get an opportunity to play with, and then the ones that have come since then, to be able to get to know them and be around for them, and still kind of carry the legacy from being on the court to the off the court aspect. It's still something really, really special. And this picture, after when I saw it, and of course everybody said, "What is Jazz doing?" I don't know, over here laying on people, but to be able to share that night with them, and especially the one that I've been able to play with and have felt the wrath of me being in practice and in games, it's just, I think it's something that I'll never forget, but I also hope that for a lot of them, they'll never forget this day too. Next picture.
Now we're taking it way back. Draft night, drafted by Indiana. Tell me about your feelings coming out of college and winding up, in Indiana with, I'm sure you know that community so well now. What did it feel like to first be Indiana?
Well, Indiana, exactly. What do they even do there? But this night, in particular, just because I tore my ACL, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, in 2001. And so really looking at this, it's kind of I didn't even know if I was going to get drafted, and especially where I would end up. And as each team got on the clock, Seattle was first. They got Lauren Jackson. Then the Charlotte Sting got Kelly Miller, and then third was Indiana, and they picked me. And it took me a minute to realize that they had called my name, but I was like, oh my God, that's me. And, just being able to get up and another moment to share with my family, and then being there with Val, she was just like, congratulations. And one of the happiest moments of my life, just a dream from a seventh grader, little girl, all the way to, senior year, tearing your ACL, and kind of in a moment really trying to figure out if the WNBA was even something that I would even be able to do with the injury, with tearing my ACL. And, got it good for sure, and opportunities. And, then you fast forward, you go back to the last two pictures. So this is the first one, the beginning, and then the end. But, yeah, it's been a blessing. It really has. And the next picture, what do we have?
MVP year.
Yeah.
What was kind of different about that season? Do you feel like that made it such a special one, and ultimately, maybe the best individual honor of your career?
Yeah. This came before the championship, so I remember getting this award and MVP. It's cool because you talk to a lot of people, and one of the things that everybody was like, through the MVP, a lot of it is voting, and people voting on who they think the MVP should be. And sometimes you'll give out an award and people will be like, oh, so and so should have got it, or so and so should have got it. And they were like, everybody agreed that this was your year to win and that you deserved it. And it's a special time. My ultimate goal was to win a championship that year, and to be able to get this individual award, it really was because of my teammates. And just being able to be put in a position to be successful with them and have them around. So not just my award, it was an award that I share with my teammates.
And then the following year, you did capture that championship.
Yeah, there it is. Trade one trophy for the next. That one looks better though, doesn't it?
Obviously that's your ultimate goal as a player, not just the MVP, but the championship, to finally do it. That's what you said even before we started this Facebook Live, is finally when you saw that picture.
Whew, like a big weight off your shoulders. You said it, every player when you come into the league, this is what you're shooting for. Not necessarily the individual award, not everybody, but this is it. And this is, at the end of the day, years go by, years roll by, and we will forever be in WNBA history winning a trophy. And I think we're the first Eastern Conference team to win too, so that in itself is special. But winning it with this group of ladies, and some of them of course have come and gone from the Indiana Fever organization, but that year was so different. We went through a lot of ups and downs, and then of course during the playoffs, Katie Douglas gets hurt in the first round against Connecticut, and then Jeanette Poland gets hurt in the final against Minnesota, and still for everybody to kind of pull that extra from them to be able to get over the hump and win against Minnesota, which everybody thought we wouldn't even win one game, let alone 2 games, let alone 3 games. So this is awesome. Absolutely awesome.
So this is flashing forward to the last regular season game of your career. Just a arena full of 24 Forever shirts. That was really kind of the celebration night. Just what are your memories? What stands out from that night? And just to think of the outpouring from Indianapolis, just for you.
Outpouring of love. Love for 24 Forever. That says it right there. And it's cool even now, because I don't think there's been a day that's gone by where I haven't seen somebody somehow, somewhere wearing the shirt. And I think this is our mayor's favorite shirt, Mayor Hogsett, in Indianapolis. But another cool night. Just I remember getting ready for this game and realizing like this is the last time that I will suit up in a regular season game. This is the last time that I will tie my shoes. This is the last time, coming through this tunnel for a regular season game, not playoff. And then knowing that we had the party post game too. Didn't know, all the surprises that were coming from that night, but every day I'm reminded of just the legacy and what we've been able to build as a Fever organization, as a Fever franchise. I've been there from the beginning, so that's what people know. But now as we transition to the next phase and to the players, Brianne, that are still here with us, it's 24 will never be forgotten from the jersey. So that's pretty cool.
And then playoffs didn't turn out how you wanted to, so this was the real end. During the playoffs, home game, you and Brianne embracing after the game.
Mm-hmm.
How emotional was that moment, and what emotions were going through your head at that point?
Whew, yeah, just that. Tears, lots of tears, and tears of sadness, but also tears of joy. And, one thing, 2014, when I made the decision that I was going to move on in 2016, I knew that in the last 2 years, I really wanted to put not that I hadn't done it before, but really put everything out there in the last 2 years and prepare Brianne, prepare my teammates for, what would happen after I would be off the court, not necessarily her off the, like on court aspect of it. And so, I was getting really close to Bree and the rest of the team that final year, and knowing that every single game, like for them and for me, it was our last time. And every year, like Lynn and Steph from my coaching would always say in the beginning of the year, this is our last year with this group of ladies. So enjoy the moment. And I mean, legit, after the season, like that was our last time with that team. And now, you got new players and new teammates. So lots of tears, but, happiness too.
And this is actually from, I believe, when Pokey was introduced. But just overall, transitioning to the front office role, first off, you have such great connections, bonds within the organization. But what were the conversations like for what the next phase of your career would be? And tell me about your current role in the front office and what you hope to get out of it.
Well, before my last season, Kelly Koskoff and Rick Fusen actually sat me down and they like, we're going to get through this season, but we want you to know that we really want you involved in Pacers Sports and Entertainment to some capacity. And so, I just said at that point, after the season, I just want to relax until January 2017 and, try to figure out where life would kind of lead me. Kelly presented an opportunity to be able to work with the Fever, the Pacers, and the Mad Ants, our G League team, underneath the Pacers Sports and Entertainment umbrella. And so now, my role is Director of Player Programs and Franchise Development. And so really trying to help our players figure out what they're passionate about while they're playing, so that when they retire, they'll be able to kind of roll into or phase in, transition into something that they know they're passionate about. And, you see so many players, NBA, WNBA, D-League, G-League players that don't know. And so, I'm super excited about that role. And then, of course, this picture, when they introduced Pokey, Kelly asked me to be there and support her, and, wouldn't have wanted to be anywhere else. And, of course, Bree, our captain of the Fever, and, Kelly Kay, our GM, and everything else. And then, of course, Carlos Knox, who trained me for my whole career, all 16 years, from the time I was injured to where I am now, just one of my really good friends. So that's where I'm at.
And then you've done some work with SEC Network, but this was your Fever broadcasting debut. Tell me about the interest in broadcasting, what it felt like to be watching a Fever game as a broadcaster rather than being out on the court.
Definitely different being on the sideline than broadcasting, but it's a lot of fun. I never saw myself commentating ever. And a lot of it was just because, being conscious of my speech and being conscious of, I wear hearing aids and just, kind of the image, I guess, and how I would fit in and having to wear the headset and having to speak clearly and all the things that I was just like so fearful of doing. But I did. I started out with the SEC, had a few games, and then they added more games to my schedule. And now being able to do the Fever games, a few of them with Pat, it's been fun. I'm learning a lot, still learning every game. I learn even more. I will say this, though, like if I would have watched as much tape as I watched as a commentator, I might have been a better player. So keep that in mind.
What are the challenges, would you say, so far of the transitioning to the broadcasting side?
I would say the challenge, like probably the biggest challenge is just, like I'm a person that like I prepare a lot, and I guess like a basketball game, I mean, there's so many unexpected things, but I would say the challenge is a lot of the stuff, it's kind of on the fly, and so you get so excited and you have to remember you're on the air. But you have to, you have to get excited, but you have to be able to enunciate your words and, kind of for the fans. I mean, your voice sometimes is what fans hear. They might not always be watching the TV, so just kind of having them as part of the game and part of the experience as well.
And lastly, this is just from one of the many events you've done with children. This is specifically a junior NBA event, but I know that's, even while you were playing, that was a huge part of your career with the Catch the Stars Foundation, and you're still doing your legacy tour. So tell me about that aspect of your life and how that's going to play into what you do from here out in your post-playing career.
I love doing basketball clinics, and I love being around the game. So that's where my current role allows me to still be around the game and still be around my teammates. But I think when you look at this picture, it's just you see the future, and you see the kids that aspire to be where we are, and that are willing to put in the work to get there. And so being an ambassador for the WNBA and being able to do camp, junior NBA, Fever Cares, all the stuff, and then of course my foundation. It's fun, it's fun to watch players and our youth develop and the love that they have for the game of basketball. I think about, we think about us as young kids and the people that were there to help us get to the next level. And really, that's what my role is now. My career is over on the court, but now it opens the door for me to be able to do more off the court and allowing and helping our future.
And last thing, like you said, 24 forever is the hashtag. That's kind of leaving your legacy on the WNBA. Speaking of the future, just now that you're on the outside looking in from the W as a player, just what have you noticed about what's jumped out about the league this season? And you spoke about it when you retired, but just what kind of hands the league is in right now with so many great young players.
Well, coming off of a great All-Star weekend, that's what I look at. And you look at the future of the WNBA and where we're going. Well, I don't know how many first-timers we had that just participated in the All-Star weekend, but that's the legacy that you're building. And you're allowing opportunities and doors to open for some of these younger players or players that have been in the league for a few years to have opportunity. And every year the WNBA continues to get better and better. The fan base gets better and better. The sponsorship get better and better. Marketing aspect gets better and better. So, sky truly is the limit. And with all the programming and all the stuff that we do off the court in order to allow opportunities for our future stars, that's where it starts. The players are starting younger, having a vision, or having a goal of one day being in the WNBA or the NBA or the G League. But they have role models, and they have great role models to aspire to be like, and great players to aspire to be one day.
All right, thank you, Tamika. Signing off from WNBA headquarters in New York. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.